What's up, guys? Alex Hoddle here, InstinctReport.com. Thanks for joining me today. Anonymity in the crowd. Yes. When in a crowd, the individuals in there, and I say the word individual because it's a group of individuals, but the crowd ends up taking a psychology all of its own, which is very primitive. The individual does not feel that they need to be held accountable, or that they will be held accountable in doing some sort of barbaric act. And that's especially given if they're wearing masks. Because separately, when you're wearing a mask, you feel anonymous. So you're more likely to do stuff you wouldn't do when you're walking down the street, or you're at work, or any other time you're not wearing a mask. Like, let's say even when cops or like execution teams, they usually wear masks, and they're willing to do more violent and crazy things when wearing a mask. I mean, that's the whole point of this. Was it those like parties, or like those Mardi Gras masks? That's the whole point of Mardi Gras. People are a lot more. They let loose more because they feel anonymous when wearing a mask at Mardi Gras, and crime goes up a little bit. People are a little bit more rowdy. The women are a lot more promiscuous in Mardi Gras, and a lot of it is because of the mask. They feel anonymous. Now you couple that with the anonymity of the crowd, you're getting to some pretty, it's not going to be good. And I'm looking at you, Antifa. That's fucking right. And you know exactly what you're doing. So whenever anybody says, Antifa's there for good, no, they're in a crowd and they have masks. They probably don't even know it. But whoever their handlers are, whoever came up with this organization and gave the rules that you have to wear a mask if you're part of Antifa, knows that they're there to do destruction. And that's one reason why primal instincts rise in the person, in the individual, when they're in the crowd, and all rationality goes out the window. Because if they have a face to themselves, if people can see their identity, see who they are, see the individual will want to represent themselves as something more rational and moral and intellectual, and just things that are just naturally good in society. But when they're anonymous, that's gone, and primal instincts go up. Like if you're a child throwing a temper tantrum, that's the only way you know how to argue, is you just throw shit. And according to Gustav Le Bon, writer of the seminal book The Crowd, crowds are only powerful for destruction. Their rule is always tantamount to a barbarian phase. When a crowd comes out and says progressivism, whatever, no, that's not the case. You can't have intelligence in the crowd. There's no arguing. Let's say if somebody comes up to the Women's March and refutes one of their points, give any of them. Let's even if let's say I'm for the Women's March, and I'm laying this case out. If anybody refutes one of their points, they're just going to be shouted down, given a slogan, and just told to get out of here and be yelled at, spit on, everything like that. No, they're there, which brings into my next point, they're there to settle grievances. They're there to do one thing. They're there to show how powerful they are and to destruct whatever is part of what's going on in society at the current time. And the only way they know how to do it is throwing a temper tantrum, because their primal instincts are at the top, at the conscious level. And in the crowd, an individual, let's say in any given crowd, any given destructive gathering, protest, whatever, those individuals, most likely 99% of the time, probably even more, won't go and set fire to a police car. They won't burn a palace down. They, let's say in the case of Charlottesville, with the alt-right, if you want to call them that, the neo-Nazis, they wouldn't go run people over in their own little individual lives. But if they're part of the crowd, that anonymity kicks in. They will do all sorts of stuff, because they won't be individually held accountable. You say you look at the news as some sort of horrific event of what happened during a protest, it'll be the crowd did this, not the individual. It's always described as whatever this protest was that did some sort of act. So, my point is, people are psychologically different, and a barbaric alter ego comes to the conscious mind when they're part of the crowd. Something takes over them. The crowd ends up developing a life of its own, and all rationality, all individual decision making goes out the window. If somebody jumps on a person, they're beating them up, they're all gonna pile on. They don't care who it is. They don't care for what reason. There's no investigation. There's no, hey, settle down, guys. Let's do this fairly. No, it's just pile on. This guy must be bad. Assume so. I'm here to, raise shit and get this guy. So that's what I got for you today. InstinctReport.com, Alex Hoddle. Look up my blog on Steam It. Give this a like. DTube, YouTube, all that. Share the video. Thanks, guys.